Alright everyone, so still working on this. I was tracing some of the wiring here from the ignition switch, and I noticed up here this wire's white, and so is this wire. These two wires here are white, and I traced them, and this all right here, this whole group of wires was wrapped in electrical tape all the way around over to the coil, as well as the basically to everything over here. And the wire coming out the other side was different colors, so I was trying to figure out what was causing it. Here, let me turn this fan off.
Okay, so I didn't realize I had my radio playing in the background, so I had to mute this part of it. Basically, what I'm explaining is I realized that there was overspray from when somebody previously had painted the white dashboard, added dew paint or repainted it, and it oversprayed onto the wiring. So when I was tracing the wiring, it looked like it was a white color going to a completely different color on the other end. So it just didn't add up until I removed all of the electrical tape wrapping the harness. When I did that, I realized, oh hey, the wire is not actually white, it's a different color. Just like those two that I'm pointing at right there, you can see subtly there's like blue on the bottom of it. So basically I discovered that the paint had covered the color of the wires.
I think I've already kind of covered the condition of the wiring is really, really bad. As you can see, everything's very old, everything is missing bolts and outdated. This is my new project I'm going to be working on and doing a little series on. But I just wanted to show that I got a whole bunch of wires that showed up today, new wiring, as well as some brown here. And I've got orange on the way. And as soon as the orange gets here, I'll use that as well. But I'm going to start replacing all of the wiring on the tractor because I want to get it all updated and get it ready so that I can try and fire it up and see if the engine will actually run. So who knows? This could be a complete dud of a project or the most fun I've had since getting the Ripa. So come along and hopefully all goes well. All right, you guys, got a quick update for you. So I'm going to get some light on here. All right, so far, let's just do that. All right, so far, I have replaced all of the ignition wires. So this black one loops around and goes to the top of the coil over here from the ignition. Then the next one comes off of the ignition switch and goes to the top of the solenoid. And then the yellow one goes from down below on the switch here. I don't know if you can see it with the shade, probably not. But basically it goes from the bottom of the switch all the way over to the voltage regulator on the L terminal. So I've got those all replaced. I've also replaced the top wire for the light switch going to the actual negative battery cable. And now I'm going to work on removing the other electrical tape on the harness that runs down to the starter alternator, starter, I don't remember what, yeah, starter alternator. And I'm going starter generator, I think that's what it's called. And then I've already unwrapped the harness here, and that's why I've been doing all of these. I'm working my way across the dash here, doing all the camera issues. So I'm working my way across doing the wiring. So I've done the wiring on the back of the ignition switch to all the components that goes to. I'm working my way down the light switch to all the components, and then I'm going to move on to the ammeter, and then I believe it's the ammeter. Yep, the ampere meter, and then I'm gonna move on to like the headlights and all the other wiring that I can find. So that's kind of an update. I'll fill you in once I get a little further along. I'll just give you a quick update. I got all new connector ends for all the wires, everything. So I'm just replacing all of it. That's my plan. So we'll get back to you here hopefully in the near future and give you more updates. All right. Well, we've replaced all the wiring of the headlights except for the ground, which is on the far side. So, the ground goes from the bottom outer terminal down all the way to the bottom, and this bolt right here that holds the front or the top cover on at the hinge at the bottom down here, the ground wraps around and grounds on the bottom of that bolt. So we got to go ahead and get that bolt off to replace it. So that's what we're working on. Can't really get a great view of it for you guys. Try and move you over here. That way at least you can see a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go get some penetrant and some WD-40 and looks like it's a 13. Not 100% sure of that, but we're gonna find out. Well, let's see if we can get down in here. Give it a little spray first. All right, a little WD-40. All right. Yeah, feels like that might be right. was going to happen. I'm going to see if I can get on it without an extension. Don't want to end up stripping it or something. Oh yeah, I can get on there. A little worried about this one. It's feeling pretty snug, like it's not ready to let go. See if I can get a longer 13 on the bottom. Maybe get a little more leverage. Hopefully it won't break. Alright, let's see if that... Well, it broke. Exactly what I figured was going to happen. Well, at least it was a clean break. I'm not sure. I thought I heard it fall into the tire. Yep, there it is. Alright, well, yeah, those are good and worn. They probably need replacement anyway, so I'm going to have to find another nut and bolt and washers here. Alright, well, now that the bolt's broken, we were able to get the ground wire off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. There we go. Ground wire is off. I have a habit of doing this. I have a habit of writing down on a piece of tape just temporarily where things went. So, ground at front left bottom of hood bolt. There we go. So I just write that down because I know I'm replacing it right now, but just in case something happens, I know how to trace back my wiring, at least for a little while, and then I can just toss it if I don't need it. So the left front outer bottom of headlight. And I just do that real quick and throw it on these, and then I'll stick them off to the side, and then I can use them if I ever need to reference something with the wiring. Like I said, probably a giant waste of time, but I still just make a habit of doing that. And then I can grab the wire. Here's the length. It's black, so I'll just grab my clippers. And run the length of wire, the length I need, and then just a little bit more just in case I have fudge room I need, and that's it. So then I got my fresh wire, so I'm going to throw that in the stack with all the rest of the wire I've replaced. Then I've got these fancy wire strippers that I got when I was a mechanic many years ago. Just strips the wire off pretty quick. Just no matter what it is, you just stick it on at the right where you want it and just squeeze, and it just pulls the wire sheathing off. It's a really handy tool I've found. So now that I've got those stripped, I'm just going to go ahead and get those twisted together. Those are both spade connectors, so I just got to find a couple in my bin of electrical connectors. There's one. And where's another one? Come on. There's another one. Okay, so we got a couple spade connectors. And just twist the wire, make sure it's good. I've got these crimpers. They got a crimp spot right in the middle, right there. I just usually set the wire connector into there. Make sure we're twisted tight on the wire. Feed it in just until you can see it sticking out the end there, and then crimp. And I usually give it a pretty solid crimp and then pop it out and then give it a pull test, and it doesn't come out, we're good. So then I go on to the next one and repeat. There we go. Do the pull test, nice and snug. So now we're going to go ahead and cut the end off because I used the wrong connector because I'm a dingbat. It's actually not a spade, it's a hole, because it's got to fit around the bolt at the bottom of the front hood. That's why you always give yourself just a little bit extra in case you're me and you need to redo things because you're not thinking. So we will grab an eyelet. I think that's about the right size. So we're going to go ahead and clip this one off real quick. There we go. Throw that in the garbage. Throw that back there. Strip the wire. Alright, well, once again, battery died in the middle giving that example, but basically I cut the end off, the spade off that I accidentally put on there, and got an eyelet that the bolt can go through. So we're going to go ahead and crimp that one on there. Pull test and we're good. So now we've got the ground wire set up. So go ahead. Alright, well, now we're gonna wire up. We're gonna wire up the ground. See if I can get in there. Tight little spot here. Oops. Well, you can still see that works. There we go. Do the old pull test. We're good. Alright, and then we're going to run the ground down and around, and when we find a replacement bolt, we will put it in the bottom and set it up. All right, all you scallywags, you probably can't see me. There you go, now you can see me. All right, so I'm gonna do another quick update on the Bolens 1050 tractor remodel. I'm gonna show you the wiring real quick. Just another quick update, that's all it is. So you can see I have replaced all the wiring throughout the whole engine. Every wire that goes to the voltage regulator or the solenoid or the coil or the battery or the ignition switch, the light switch, the ammeter, the headlights down here, everything has been replaced. The ground wire down there, the black wire that goes down, it connects to one of the bolts, one of these 3 bolts that mount the front cover onto the frame, and those bolts are all really rusted and it broke, so I need to replace all those bolts. I'm going to get new bolts for that, and then I'll have the ground for the headlights hooked up, but that should be done. Basically, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of everything that I've done so far, but basically all the wiring on the engine has been replaced. So all of the, I'll just say this, all of the standard wiring, not the coil wire or the battery terminal wires or anything like that. None of the main or the alternator, starter generator wire that goes to the solenoid, those have not been replaced. My plan is to get all the wiring fixed, because there was a lot of really broken, brittle, completely useless wiring. So I got all of that swapped out, and then I'm going to try and get the engine running. So we'll see what happens. I also got an AGM battery. It's a 680 cold cranking amps AGM, so I'm going to try that when the time comes to try and crank this thing over. We'll do a video on that and see if it actually starts. We'll see. I just wanted to give you an update on everything so far. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.